Hello, kings, queens, and everything in between. Lizzie here, and if you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. It is 2 a.m. as I am writing this script, so if some of this makes no sense, that's why. But I found the story, and I feel I had to talk about it. As you can tell, since this isn't really set up like one of my normal videos, this is going to be a more serious video. I won't be making jokes, I won't be doing anything like that, because this video has to do with someone taking their own life, which is nothing to joke about or laugh about. I won't keep you waiting any longer. Let me tell the story. So recently, it has been said that the owner of the YouTube channel SaveAFox, who is Mikayla Raines, recently sadly took her own life in her Minnesota home and was discovered by her husband at only the age of 29. So, how did this young woman with a husband and child and a successful channel on Fox Sanctuary go down this path that led her to ending it? Well, first of all, we need to talk about who Mikayla is. In short, she began her channel SaveAFox in 2009, but began uploading in 2013, posting informational videos about how to care for different types of animals and showing off her exotic animals that were in her care. Eventually, she gained 2.4 million subscribers on her channel. When she was 15, Mikayla rescued her first fox and raised it, and at 18, she got her license as a wildlife rehabilitator. She was going to college to become a veterinary technician, but eventually dropped out when she realized she wanted to care for and raise foxes that came from abusive conditions such as fur farms. She also struggled with autism, depression, borderline personality disorder, and several other issues which therapy and medication didn't seem to help her, according to her husband. However, because the world is a scummy place with even scummier people who deserve to be wiped off the planet with a ray gun, some people still had an issue with this perfectly kind thing to do in providing a sanctuary for abused foxes. Why did they have an issue? Mental illness, I can only assume. On Reddit, because of course it's on Reddit where all the incels and cunts go, there was a subreddit called SaveAFox Snark, which a snark subreddit is basically a place where people gather to criticize a creator or celebrity of some kind. This snark subreddit was for Mikayla, which most of the posts were just the most pointless pieces of criticism I have ever seen in my almost 19 years on this planet. According to her husband, most of the people giving her hate were people she knew as close friends and other animal sanctuaries, spreading lies and rumors about her which caused her to be extremely hurt, and all of this hate piled on top of her already existing struggles finally broke Mikayla, and she ended her own life, unable to handle the pain any longer. One user online posted a list of all the supposed bad things she did, even though they were all baseless claims and not true at all, which included using animals for financial gain, possibly doing drugs, and paying her staff in cat food and not money, which again, all of these claims are false and were just used to spread rumors and drama and send hate towards Mikayla. The same person, even though they were a clear contributor in Mikayla taking her own life, made a Reddit post trying to defend themselves and calling her fans meat riders. Oh boy, never heard that term in my life before. They also said they felt no remorse initially, and that the guilt was starting to wane even more because of the people calling them out. As I'm writing and recording this script, a few weeks ago, on the SaveAFox YouTube channel, Mikayla's husband posted a video entitled An Unimaginable Loss for the Rescue, which he details what happened, what kind of person Mikayla was inside and outside of the sanctuary she ran, and that in her memory, will continue to run the sanctuary to carry on her legacy. He described her as an amazing wife and mother to their daughter. He also described her as having such a love for animals that if one needed help, she'd neglect her own needs to care for the animal. Overall, it sounds like Mikayla Raines was an incredible human being who deserves to be honored and respected for her wonderful achievements and the things she did to make this world just a bit better. Now, let's talk about the main individual who is being discussed as being a large reason for her passing. Not the only reason, but a pretty big one that is being brought up. Going by the Reddit name Kazeo Lion or Kazeo Lion, I really don't give a shit. There honestly isn't much that I could find on this person or really much about this entire situation at all, but what I have learned is that Kazeo Lion is said to be a trans man and also a large participant in the furry fandom, with his persona being a lion, hence the name. Now, when trying to find their account, I learned that it has also been deleted, which is ironic due to his post he made saying he wasn't going to back down despite all the people sending him hate. However, I did find a post in the subreddit r/Rousey by the user FreakyV0LP3 addressing the situation, stating that Kazeo had been banned from the subreddit with no intention of unbanning. However, they also said that they would be banning anyone who took part in the doxing and making transphobic comments. This was not related to Mikayla, but rather people began doxing and being transphobic towards Kazeo after all of this came out, which I do not condone doxing or being transphobic in any way, even if this person is a massive piece of scum. You never want to stoop to someone's level like that, so please do not do that. I must also note that Kazeo was not the only person involved in this, and Reddit was only the tip of the iceberg of the hate she received. For example, it also extended to Tumblr, with many users saying she was an animal hoarder, had a quote-unquote racist hairstyle, whatever the fuck that means, used foxes as OnlyFans props, and other false claims about her. People would go searching for even the slightest things to hate her for with zero consequences, and most of these individuals worked for other wildlife sanctuaries. At one point, they even said she was awful for just wanting new shoes. Oh no, I really want some new Doc Martens to step on these pricks with. I guess that makes me a horrible person, guys. Now, since there isn't really much information other than this that we know of so far, allow me to share my thoughts about the bullying and harassment that Mikayla received. First, Mikayla was obviously a person with many struggles that a lot didn't know about. She suffered through a lot of pain and hardship and mental health struggles that made her more vulnerable to being hurt by this kind of thing. Besides the fact that, according to her husband, she was a very sensitive soul who took things to heart, but yet she pushed on and still cared for animals and founded the SaveAFox sanctuary and kept rescuing animals even when life was extremely difficult. We should honor her and cherish her memory and continue her legacy. The people who drove her to this are worthless sacks of scum who do not deserve the air they breathe every day. And while it's hard not to discuss her story without mentioning those fuckers, it's also important that we shed light upon Mikayla herself and the amazing things she did in her 29 years on this planet. She was taken too soon, and may she rest easy, free from the pain and misery, and my heart goes out to her family. I cannot imagine how difficult this is, and I really hope that they take the steps they need to process this and at least get some closure from it. Now, a little PSA on bullying and harassment of any kind. With the age of the internet, it is now easier than ever to just be an asshole to someone because you're behind a screen. But before you go and harass someone either in real life or online, remember that the people on the other side of the screen are real people with real human emotion. You don't know what they've been through or the struggles that they've faced, and you never know when their breaking point will be. So please be kind to everyone, because you never know what someone's dealing with behind the scenes. And sometimes a little bit of kindness is enough to brighten someone's entire day. I always hated the phrase, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words can't hurt you. Because words can and absolutely do hurt. And words have an impact on people, more than you think. So please put down the pitchforks and lighter fluid for a bit, and make sure to just be kind to people, and also make sure you check in on your friends and family, and even just strangers. Make sure they know you're there for them, and make sure you know the signs and what to look for, because even if they're subtle, there are still things to watch for, and if you suspect something's going on, say something. Even if they don't want to talk about it, at least you're opening the door for an opportunity for them to do that with you whenever they're ready. Words hurt. Be kind to each other, please. Now, I have a soft spot for people that go through a massive hate like this when it's proven to not be deserved, because I've been through similar things myself. It does not feel good, and you never know who will be the next person to be taken far too soon. Mikayla sounds like she was an incredible human being who never deserved this happening to her, and honestly, she's not the first. This happens far too often because when you sit behind a screen, it's much easier to say things that you would never dare say to their face. The internet has made people too comfortable with being assholes, and this is yet another circumstance of a good human being that got taken far too soon. So that's going to be it for this video. I will be linking resources down below to anybody that needs help or anybody that may have somebody who you think needs help, just in case that someone ever does need it. But I love you all. Stay safe, spread love, and never let anybody take your crown.